The Galaxy Empire had ruled the Spire Arms for 1,000 measured cycles, their banners drifting above conquered stars like cold constellations. They believed in balanced sheets of war, in fleets counted and enemies calculated, and every conflict ended the same way, with surrender signed and annexation sealed. When scouts returned from the uncharted rim with reports of a minor bipedal species calling themselves humans, the High Admiralty barely lifted their crests. The reports said the humans occupied a thin band of systems, their technology uneven, their diplomacy blunt, their borders messy. A simple border action was authorized. A demonstration fleet sent to force negotiations and extract tribute. The fleet was respectable, but not glorious. 3 carrier rings, 12 linebreakers, and a cloud of escort craft meant more to impress than to destroy. As the ships crossed into human space, they broadcast the formal ultimatum in a dozen trade languages, confident the message would be received and obeyed. Instead, there was silence, not the panicked silence of a species overwhelmed, but a deliberate quiet. Sensors detected human warships gathering, fewer than expected, clustered around a single blue star. The Empire commanders smiled, reading the formation as desperation. The first exchange was brief and violent. Human ships struck hard and withdrew, leaving wreckage and confusion. Imperial tacticians noted the aggression with mild surprise but no concern. They advanced deeper, burning stations and seizing resource worlds, expecting the humans to fold. Yet every world taken was empty of civilians, stripped clean, as if the population had stepped aside willingly. Imperial logs marked this as evidence of fear. Then the humans counterattacked again, this time with heavier hulls and weapons the Empire had not catalogued. Losses mounted, still acceptable, still within projections. The Admiralty ordered escalation, calling in reserves from nearby sectors. At court, commentators spoke of the coming negotiation, of how the humans would soon learn their place. No one noticed the pattern forming on the astromaps, the careful drawing back of human forces, the way each retreat exposed another layer of defenses. No one asked why. The humans never asked for terms. At the edge of the map, the Empire believed it was winning, and belief made them blind. As the campaign dragged on, the Empire encountered resistance that felt strangely measured. Human fleets appeared in waves, each stronger than the last, each retreating before total annihilation. Imperial analysts called it inefficiency, a lack of unified command. They did not consider that the humans might be learning. Captured data cores revealed shipyards operating far beyond the contested zone, churning out hulls at a rate the Empire had not seen outside total war economies. Still, the Admiralty dismissed it, assuming the humans were exhausting themselves. Then came the first battle that shook confidence. An Imperial carrier ring vanished in a corridor of distorted space, torn apart by weapons that bent gravity like cloth. Survivors spoke of human ships arriving not from known lanes but from impossible vectors. Engineers argued, priests prayed, and commanders demanded explanations. The humans answered with another strike, and another. Each time the Empire committed more forces, and each time the humans met them with something new. Heavier armor, smarter missiles, coordinated tactics that turned Imperial doctrine against itself. The phrase began to circulate quietly among junior officers. This feels like a screen. The Empire finally captured a human officer during a boarding action. Interrogators expected fear or defiance, but found only exhaustion and resolve. When asked how many fleets humanity had left, the officer laughed softly and said, "You are not even touching the army yet." The statement was logged as psychological warfare. Still, the losses continued, and supply lines stretched thin. Imperial citizens began to see casualty notices scrolled across public displays, something they had not seen in generations. The High Admiralty convened an emergency council, authorizing the commitment of a true battle armada, a force meant to end wars outright. As the armada assembled, sensors detected massive energy signatures awakening deeper in human space. Ancient shipyards, hidden bastions, and orbital fortresses powered up like stars being born. For the first time, Imperial commanders felt uncertainty creep into their calculations. What kind of species builds this much and hides it? One strategist whispered. No answer came. Only another human message, brief and untranslated. The Empire advanced anyway, because empires do not know how to stop. The Armada entered the contested system in perfect formation, a sight meant to crush hope. What awaited them was a human fleet that eclipsed everything before. Battleships the size of cities drifted into view, flanked by swarms of smaller craft, moving with terrifying precision. Weapons fire turned space into a storm of light and distortion. Imperial shields failed under sustained pressure, and hulls cracked like brittle ice. Command channels filled with overlapping alarms. Then more human ships arrived. Not reinforcements, but something else entirely. They bore markings, unlike the others. Older designs fused with advanced systems, as if pulled from different eras of war. An Imperial commander finally voiced the question that froze the bridge. Is this all of them? The answer came not from sensors, but from a human broadcast, calm and almost apologetic. This is a defensive mobilization. Our expeditionary forces are still deployed elsewhere. Silence followed, broken only by the sounds of destruction. Imperial officers stared at tactical displays as the scale of their era became clear. The humans were not fighting to win quickly. They were fighting to measure the threat. Now that measurement was complete. Entire Imperial wings were encircled and dismantled. Their escape routes sealed by human engineering feats the Empire had thought theoretical. The Armada fractured, disciplined collapsing under relentless pressure. Some ships fled, others fought on out of pride in the chaos. A senior admiral was heard whispering the words that would echo through Imperial history. You mean that was not their full army? The realization hit harder than any weapon. This was not a border war, it was an awakening. The humans had prepared for extinction-level conflict and treated the Empire as a test case. As the battle ended, wreckage filled the system like a graveyard. Human ships did not pursue the fleeing remnants. They simply held position, watching, waiting. The message was clear without words. This could continue. News of the defeat spread faster than censorship could contain it across the Empire. Citizens saw images of destroyed flagships and heard recordings of panicked command channels. The myth of inevitable victory cracked. Worlds on the frontier began to question Imperial protection. Allies demanded explanations. Rivals sensed weakness. Within the High Court, blame flew like shrapnel. Some called for total mobilization, others for immediate negotiation. No one argued that the humans were insignificant anymore. Intelligence divisions scrambled to reassess everything they thought they knew about humanity. They discovered a culture shaped by constant readiness, by stories of survival against overwhelming odds. Human history was a chain of near extinctions, each one forging new doctrines of war. To the humans, preparation was not paranoia, it was tradition. Imperial philosophers struggled with the implication. An empire that had grown complacent now faced a species that assumed the worst and built accordingly. Human diplomats finally appeared, not begging, not threatening, simply stating boundaries and consequences. Withdraw, and there will be peace. Advance, and we will escalate. The simplicity of the message unsettled the court more than flowery threats ever could. Imperial analysts ran projections and found none that ended well. Even a total war victory would shatter the empire beyond repair. The cost was no longer acceptable. For the first time in centuries, the empire considered retreat. Not as a tactic, but as survival. The empire withdrew from human space under heavy guard. No pursuit came, no final blow. Human fleets remained at their borders. Vigilant but restrained, treaties were drafted carefully, acknowledging sovereignty and mutual deterrence. The Galaxy Empire signed, its seal pressed with a hand that trembled. In academies and war colleges, the conflict became a case study in hubris. The phrase "you mean that" was not their full army became a warning whispered to young officers. Humanity faded back into the maps. No longer a blank space, but a red line. No one wished to cross. Trade resumed cautiously. Diplomats exchanged measured words, yet the memory lingered. The Empire had looked into the depths of another species and found not weakness, but patience. They had learned too late that some civilizations do not posture, they prepare. And in the quiet after the war, as stars drifted on in different paths, the Galaxy Empire understood a new truth. Power is not measured by what you show, but by what you never had to use.